So this is something that might have happened to you, or you can use your imagination. It definitely has happened to me. So imagine going to a new city, and even better if it's in a different country where nobody knows you, where you are an enigma. They can't say, oh, yes, I know Anya, she'll be doing this, or that's just what Anya does, or how strange. So that would be consensus. There's no consensus in this new place for you. You're brand new. You could become any identity, any personality. You could change anything you wanted because it's like a new slate. I could say I'm a poet, or I could, for some things you might need a certificate, but can I invent a new version of me? First question. Is that possible? Nobody knows me. Nobody knows how I dress, what my tastes are, my dislikes, my habits. And the next question, how long would it take for me to become me again, to fall back into my patterns? You might get a number, but if it's not a number, a sensation. And those things, those identities that recreate, that I'm either always left out, we're looking at the negative, of course, or a similar circumstance happens to me always, those would be what I call contracts. The contracts obliges you, even though you have the best intent, to come back into a state that is your norm, whether it is in lack or solitude or in pain or in frustration, whatever it is. There we go. So each choice implies a possible timeline change. Each choice can reaffirm the one that you've taken, or it can take you off onto a new tangent. So imagine these lines flowing forward, because forward for us is the future. And then the lines flowing backwards is the road already taken. So it's the past that has influenced, consciously or unconsciously, all my choices. And I am now in the now moment. Each time I am in the now moment. A timeline change doesn't need to be a quantum jump, as if I wake up in Singapore, or I am in a different scenario. It can be a millimeter jump, but over time, the millimeter becomes a meter, becomes 10 meters, becomes a kilometer. So the easiest thing for our consciousness is to stay the same. And it is safe, even though it doesn't like it. If I stay in pain or in lack or in confusion, I know how to handle it so it is safe. So we're going to use the analogy again. If you plan to go to a different country, a different area, even if it's in your imagination, what would that person be like, act like, live like? So it is still you. Don't overstretch the imagination, but if I went to a whole new place with different customs, different people, nobody that knew me, would I still be the same, or could I allow myself to recreate a new me? And what would that new me look like? Would he be more confident, caring, smiling, more happy-go-lucky, more committed, more disciplined? And just ask your quantum consciousness, if that is what you truly desire, what is holding you back? What recreates the you? And if you can't identify it consciously, ask your quantum consciousness to find it. What is my attraction? What is my obsession, addiction with those qualities? And now imagine stepping into this new dragon year, the year of quantum possibilities, magic. It's a bit like decluttering your closet or your home. Can I step into this new identity that I have envisioned for myself and let go? There we go. So here we ask the quantum consciousness. Can you identify the things that hold me back from being this ideal expression of myself, this free expression of myself? The quantum consciousness, can you see why I allow this to keep on occurring? Of your consciousness to identify why I believe things that keep me in lack or give me pain, suffering, is something good. Now we're going to ask that quantum consciousness, just like small choices in my today will create a different outcome in my future. How I perceive my past will create a different perception of my today and therefore my future. So ask your quantum to travel back through the timelines of these specific issues and imagine a higher consciousness, a more awakened, caring observation to travel back an identity. Let's say I made a choice out of repetitive fear not to confront a situation, a person, or a theme. So it became my identity. So imagine this energy going through, down, back into the timeline, into my past. Of course, there is no past, it's here right now. But with that knowledge that I have now, to change. Just by willing to change, change is possible. Quantum consciousness. And you see how to change the perception of the past, how to free contract. Ask your true self, your soul self, to identify these places and surrender. Usually it's a place of pain, pain of either not being seen or rejected or some form of physical or emotional pain. And if you like, you can imagine the timelines changing color or frequency. And if you imagine that timeline going through your body and changing even more color or frequency. And now try again. Is it easier to imagine this new self? Is it the same or harder? quantum consciousness. Adjust and make the necessary movement. And again, go into your history. Again, changing it even more. Quantum consciousness, can you see how by seeing my past, my reality with compassion, with kindness and understanding, the timeline changes. I let go of the judgment, the criticism, the apathy, sadness, anger. And I change the way I perceive my past, and therefore I change my present and my future. Yeah. Quantum consciousness, can you see how the future, how the present moment and the future can change to become the identity that I've intended? I keep on going forwards and backwards, even though there is no future and past. But if I change my now moment by changing my past perception, I have a different experience in my possible futures. And if I change my future, my past must also change. Good. Allow the energy to build. It's like pockets that look like that bubble wrap. Allow these to burst. And the energy trapped in these programs, allow it to come out and into your consciousness. Now here's the other part. It's so easy. You're going to say, isn't it wonderful that I allowed myself to change? Isn't it wonderful that I am now, and fill in the blank? Isn't it amazing that I can now so easily fill in the blank? Isn't it wonderful that I'm so happy that I achieved my goals? Remember, the universe only says yes. So when I speak to the universe like this, isn't it wonderful that my body can heal so far? Isn't it wonderful that I have already overcome pain? Isn't it wonderful that my bank is healthy? And the universe can only say yes. It, it agrees with you. Stay in the feeling. So let's say you feel lonely and you might say, isn't it wonderful that people appear from all over just to help me? Or isn't it amazing how everything works in my favor? Isn't it wonderful that I am so good at being great? Isn't it wonderful that I got it, that I understand it? Isn't it wonderful that I now have my own business? Or isn't it wonderful I said yes to going on a trip, or I said yes to a new job that seemed out of my league? So when you identify something that's negative, so let's say I have this pain and I've been told it will be there for 3 years, the universe will agree with you. So if you start saying, isn't it wonderful that I'm so much better than yesterday? Isn't it amazing how my body reacts so well and just wants to heal? Isn't it wonderful that I'm pain-free? Isn't it wonderful that I'm speeding to my recovery? Anything that implies the opposite. If we bring it back into this experience, whatever I envision myself to be, a freer being, this nobody knows me and I'm allowed to be free and spontaneous. I would say, isn't it wonderful that I'm free and spontaneous? Isn't it amazing that I allowed myself to be as I am today? Free, spontaneous, happy. And it could be, isn't this wonderful how quickly this happened? Is it's amazing how easy it was for me to transition. So imagine asking a friend or going for a meal and say, isn't this meal delicious? And she'll say, yes. It's literally the same. You're asking your quantum self, the universe, the um, observer. You are the observer, the surrounding state. I'm saying, isn't it great that and it can only say yes. Isn't it wonderful that I can see my past differently and therefore create a different future? Isn't that amazing? Isn't it wonderful that this certainty gives me peace? And now again, imagine this new you in this new place with less conditioning and strings attached, and just recognizing, isn't it great that I moved here and I'm full of friends or abundant or slimmer or I knuckled down and studied or whatever it is, I allowed myself the new experience. Here we go. Okay. Breath in